Good morning, Bulls fans. It is time to talk about Caleb Wilson. Let's talk about his strengths, weaknesses, and I think I have a good comparison that I think you guys will like. But before we get too deep into talking about him, I want to know, do you guys think Caleb Wilson will be the next great Chicago Bull? Comment absolutely or not at all down below. So, Caleb Wilson, we all know him, the consensus number 4 pick. I think he's been mocked at the number 4 pick the entirety of the draft cycle, if not at least 90% of it. I genuinely can't remember the last time I saw a mock draft that didn't have Caleb Wilson at number 4, even before we got the pick. I mean, we all kind of know the big 4. It was Debansa, Peterson, Boozer, and him. So it just feels like he's going to fall into our lap. And it's just so crazy that we have a franchise altering player that's just going to fall into our lap. Like, I believe that Caleb, along with the other 3, but I think all 4 of them are franchise altering players. And I think Wilson is the no brainer at number 4. Because I think it's going to play out where he's sitting there at 4. And honestly, if we don't pick him, I'm going to be really upset because there's no reason to let this talented of a player not go to your team when you're picking 4 if he's on the board. So, to start with his stats, he averaged 19.8 points per game on 57.8% shooting, 9.4 rebounds, 2.7 assists, 1.4 blocks, 1.5 steals in 31.3 minutes a game. Honestly, incredible production. And it's really the efficiency and the rebounding that stick out to me the most. And I'll get more into that when we talk about strengths, but just being able to produce at that high of a level as a freshman in the ACC, it's just incredible, man. I'm really hoping he falls to 4. But my comparison that I have is Blake Griffin. And just the thought of having a Blake Griffin type of player on the Bulls is just mind-boggling to me. Like, I'm so excited for this draft cycle. I'm so excited for this offseason. But my comparison comes mostly from my good friend and Sports Illustrated Wizards writer, Bryson Akins. We were talking about him as a prospect, just kind of talking about what way we think the board will fall. And when we talked about Wilson, he said that he pretty much sees him as an uber athletic for crazy balance and measurements, and that he's going to make highlight plays, just like Blake Griffin did in his early days in the Lob City era. Not a shooter by any means, but throw up a lob, he will be there to grab it and just throw it down. Not the greatest contester of shots, but if you need him to chase someone down, he will. And honestly, after watching his tape, I see it. I see a lot of Blake. Blake was so dominant in his 2 years at Oklahoma, and honestly, for the first half of his NBA career, because he was just so much more athletic than everyone at the power forward position that he was able to just bully them, punch it on them, throw up a lob, he'll grab it, throw it down. And I just see a lot of that in Caleb Wilson. And it's got me so excited. And to piggyback off of that, we're going to talk about the strengths. Like I said, the finishing, the athleticism. I mean, we all know how athletic Caleb Wilson is at this point. We all know how easy it is for him to get a dunk. But I think it's just crazy, like genuinely crazy, that he was able to get all these dunks and get to the rim at will. Like, put one person in front of him, he's getting to the rim and punching it. Put 2 people in front of him, he's getting to the rim and punching it. Like, it's so crazy that he was able to convert at such a high level the way he was. And the rebounding too, getting almost 10 boards a game. Like, I mean, I think that is what's going to help him slide into this offense so perfectly. I think he's a perfect four for this team. Can play the four, start at the four, move Modest to the three, which that's a big thing for me. I don't think Modest is a four. I think he's too much of a perimeter player and too much of an ISO guy to have him at the four. I think he's much more suited at the three, and I'm hoping that either Caleb, either Noah, both of them, either way, I think having those guys at the four, not to mention Leonard Miller too. I think Leonard has found himself a place to stay here. But having those three guys circling at the four and being able to have Modest focus on being a three, I think is going to do wonders for Modest. I think it's going to do wonders for this team. And I think it's just going to help everyone. But unfortunately, as I always say, with strengths come weaknesses. And his big one is shooting. We saw the combine shooting drill. We saw his 3-point percentage. He shot 25% from three on one attempt a game. It's hard with that small of a sample size because it's like, yeah, it's a small sample size. You don't want to judge a player off of 1 3 a game. But if that 1 3 a game is only being made a quarter of the time, then yeah, there is grounds for a little bit of caution, a little bit of worry there. But I mean, he wasn't asked to be a shooter at North Carolina. I was having that conversation with a different friend of mine. He wasn't really asked to be a shooter at North Carolina. He was asked to be, like Bryson said, that uber athletic power forward that just attacks the paint, finishes at the rim at will. They weren't asking him to sit on the perimeter. They weren't asking him to shoot threes. So hopefully that isn't a true indicator. I've also heard that he even said he can shoot better than he did at the combine. So I'm hoping all of that put together just shows that it wasn't a good sample size. Like, yes, the 25% is still pretty worrying, but I'm hoping that asking him to shoot, getting him more reps, I hope it will help his shot more. Because I also don't think he has a bad jumper. Like, you can tell from his shooting form and his free throw percentage, he's got the form down. It's just a matter of it falling. And when it comes to that, the easy fix is just the gym. At that point, it's just getting in the gym and getting more shots up. I think that's an easy fix. Frame, I think that's an easy fix too. Kind of like I said with Noah, he just needs a little bit more muscle to him. He's 211 pounds, so not crazy skinny by any means for the fact that he's 6'9", but definitely needs a little bit more muscle. I would like to get him by like the end of the season, get him around 220, get him 8 to 9 pounds of muscle. I think that's pretty reasonable of an ask. And I think if he plays around 220 with more muscle getting him to that 220, I think he can just be even more of a force than he already is. And the last weakness is defense. Not saying he's a bad defender by any means, but he definitely overcommits at times trying to get the steal, overcommits at times trying to get the block. And again, not the hardest thing to fix. The easiest way to fix that is just Again, get him in the gym, get him with a vet that knows how to contest shots. Like Jalen Smith, pretty good at contesting jumpers without fouling, without overcommitting to the point where he gets burnt. I think having him work with him over the summer, boom, problem solved. That's what vets are for, is to teach the young guys what they learned in the league. So I don't think these weaknesses are really anything to get too scared about. But I mean, weaknesses are weaknesses. No player has a perfect game. Every player has at least one weakness. It's a matter of, is it an easy to address weakness or a hard to address weakness? And I think Caleb's weaknesses are easy to address. And that's about the best case scenario you can get. So, before I give my personal thoughts completely, I want to know if you guys are hyped up for this draft. I'm hyped up for this draft. I'm really excited. I know my co host is excited. We're going to do a draft stream. I hope you guys tune in. But if you're hyped for that draft, please hit that like and hype button down below. Now, my thoughts, I mean, you kind of already know. Absolute no brainer. I think it's about as no brainer as it gets at the fourth pick. I mean, ultra athletic 4 that can slide Modest into what I think is his true position. And if we get him to hit that 3 ball, it's wraps, dude. He's going to be so good if we can get that 3 ball falling even at like a 33% clip. Doesn't even have to be league average. It just has to be 33%. Anything in that range, we are chilling. And that's another reason why I think that Blake Griffin comparison from Bryson was so good, because Blake did the exact same thing. He didn't have a jumper. I mean, granted, he came in before the 3 ball was as important as it is now, but we saw what happened once he got that 3 ball. He was playing some of his best basketball in Detroit when he was still that ultra athletic wing, but could bounce out to the 3-point line and hit a 3 ball if you need him to. And I think having someone like this on the same timeline as Modest and potentially Giddy, if we don't move him, I think that's a crazy fun, crazy good young core to have. Not to mention we still have 15, 38, and 56. But just those 3 alone has me really excited for the Bulls' future if Caleb is the player we pick. It's just going to be such a fun draft cycle, guys. I'm super excited. I hope you guys are too. Now, with that being said, please make sure to share and subscribe. We are trying to hit 1,900 subscribers. We're about 70 away. So every share, every subscriber matters, because we want to make sure we are getting you guys the best Bulls news in the quickest amount of time possible. And thank you for joining me this morning, guys. I had a blast making this scouting report. I love diving into tape. I loved diving into Caleb's especially. It's just so fun when you get those uber athletic guys. But please make sure to like. Please make sure to subscribe. Jordan and I are putting out a bunch of great content right now. We have GM searches still going on. We have head coach searches still going on. We still have a bunch of guys that we're scouting for our second round picks that we haven't dropped their scouting reports, their scouting profiles yet. Just, it's a really great time to be a Bulls fan right now. And we want to make sure that you're subscribed so that you don't miss any of the things that are going on, because there's so much going on. And with that being said, Thank you for joining in. Have a great day, Bulls Nation. As always, see red.